How tough has this season been on Coach K?
Well, first of all, you know, what happened last night was a reminder that the man's 66 years old. He's no spring chicken. And he's always been an energy coach, Maggie. He's not a great tactician per se. He coaches by feel, he coaches by energy, and some teams need more energy than others. Last year was built around 3 seniors. They didn't need as much of his energy. This team does. Its best player is a freshman. Its second best player is playing in the program for the first time. They've had some inconsistency issues, and they frankly went into Wake Forest last night believing all they had to do was put on a Duke shirt and win the game, and Wake unfortunately wasn't playing that game. So what happened was about midway through the second half, when things started going the wrong way, he called a timeout. Now he's a very big guy on body language, facial expressions, posture, and all that stuff, and he was not happy with the pace of their coming over to the timeout. And he kind of stomped his foot and got really angry at him. And after that timeout, he felt very lightheaded. And from that point to the end of the game, he wasn't feeling well. And I think it's not a coincidence that Wake goes on a 17-0 spurt at the end of the game. So my understanding is his visit to the hospital last night was mostly for precautionary reasons. He's had some blood pressure issues. He gets it checked often anyway, so get him an IV, get his vitals checked. He slept in late today, which 2 days before the North Carolina game is not common for him. But you know, I think at the end of the day, that loss last night might be the best thing that ever happened to this Duke team, because they now know that they're just not that good. I mean, they're good, but if they don't show up and they don't play well, they can lose to any team, anywhere. And if they didn't learn that lesson last night, they're never going to learn it.
But for a team that takes so much of its emotional cues from their coach and needs him to get the best out of themselves, quite frankly, how much could this be, well, the emotional toll that's been on the team? How much is it a concern going forward as you're getting into not only the North Carolina game, as you mentioned, but it's tournament time? Well,
I think every team right now has to be concerned about something. I mean, it's that time of year, you know. I mean, you talk about what Tom Izzo's been going through with his team, and you know, even Billy Donovan is probably right now the only bulletproof team. But you know, so yes, they definitely have some concerns, and we'll see how they respond. The good news is we're going to find out pretty quickly because they have a big game on Saturday night in Cameron. I think Duke can win a national championship. I think they have the pieces to be able to do that, but they have to play well. And I think there's maybe 12 to 15 teams that you can say that about. If they play well, they can win it all. But if they don't play well, they can lose to anybody. It's going to be that kind of tournament.
And something that shouldn't be lost is the idea that coaches have really taken, and their health has been suffering. We saw it in the NFL this year, on the sidelines of college football, Mark D'Antonio, and now in college basketball too. It's
no question. Very stressful life, and when you're 66 and you're not sleeping and you're burning a lot of calories and not. It's hard enough for young folks like us to get by without sleep. So
like
it'll be
you,
interesting.
Seth, like you, young folks like you. What about Syracuse? This has been tough. You know, every year, or every week rather, that you've been in, every Thursday, we've been talking about Cuse, and it's been positive. Now they've lost 4 out of their last 5. Is a #1 seed for them in danger at this point?
I think it's almost lost, really. And now if they go ahead and win the ACC tournament, which again is very possible, they'll be back in that conversation. But now I think they're behind. I mean, I think there are 3 pretty safe #1s, almost regardless of what happens in their conference tournament: Florida, Arizona, Wichita State. So it's that 4th position that's now kind of up for grabs. So right now, Syracuse is behind Kansas, and I think they're also behind Wisconsin. Wisconsin has more losses, but they have a lot of quality wins, especially in the non-conference, including over Florida and over Virginia. So Syracuse, if they win the ACC tournament, they could get to the 1 line, but they're going to need some help from those teams that are ahead of them. If they need to lose for Syracuse to jump back to the 1. But Syracuse has larger concerns than a 1 seed.
I was going to say, some of the concerns could be the idea that it's been tough for them to score lately, the lack of depth. What else do you see?
Well, those are the main 2, and then the injuries. I mean, the first little hiccup that they had was when Bai Musa Keita, their backup center, got injured, and now they're playing without Jeremy Grant. And the thing about Jim Boeheim is, because of their zone, they don't have to exert the same amount of physical energy that a lot of teams do who do a lot of full court pressure man-to-man. So he has never played a deep bench, which is fine as long as everybody's healthy. And the real concern is now in the backcourt. Tyler Ennis and Trevor Cooney have played a lot of minutes, and it's really showing.
Hey there, SI fans. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our daily live show, SI Now. You can find a link to the complete episode in the description box below. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to Sports Illustrated's YouTube channel. Remember, you can watch SI Now Monday through Friday live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time only on SI.com. We'll see you there.